Devaki and Vasudev. And then, as I told you, we will move on. This is based on the teachings of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He is the founder Acharya of ISKCON. And let us take his blessings before we start. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. And then we move on to chapter 1, Arjun Vishada Yoga, observing armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Now you can see on the screen, Mataji.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Arjuna's Yoga of Lamentation, and this is about how the scene is set, how Arjuna was chosen, and why he was chosen, because he was friend, very much his devotee as well. And it teaches us liberation from our mental blocks, confusion, problems, unhappiness, and whatever turmoils we have in our life. And this is our Sri Radha Govinda temple in Mangaluru. Let's offer our obeisances to Sri Radha Govinda. Sri Radha Govinda ki Jai. And then Bhagavad Gita shlokas, as you all know, 700 shlokas, 574 by Krishna, Lord Krishna, 84 by Arjuna, 41 Sanjaya, and 1 by Dhritarashtra. Then divisions of Bhagavad Gita, you can see chapter 1 to 6, Karma Yoga, 7 to 12, Bhakti Yoga, 13 to 18, Jnana Yoga. Now, what do Acharyas give and give the reason? Let's read that, why Bhakti Yoga is in the middle of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So let's read the reasons what Acharyas have given. Okay, so who would like to read, please? You can read. Yes. Yes, Govind Divya Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Bhakti is Rahasya, very secret. Bhakti is essential of all scriptures. Bhagavad Gita 15.15. Karma and Gnana Yoga are dead without Bhakti, hence surrounded by both. Bhakti gives life to Karma and Gnana Yoga. Generally, we do not disclose anything which is secret until we become intimate. Hence, out of respect, Bhakti is placed in the middle. Most important is kept in the middle. Example, king traveling with his army is always in the middle, protected.
Hare Krishna. You agree or not? Anything that is precious, we keep it in the middle, right? We try to save it. We try to protect it. As the pearl is also there. It is there in the center and it is protected, covered with on both the sides. Yes or not? Like in 15.15, what is 15.15 shloka? Sarvasya chaham vidisannivishto, right? Matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedeshta sarve rahameva vedyo vedantakak veda videva chaham. Means everyone is seated, everyone's heart, I am seated, says Lord Krishna. And with him comes remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness, everything he gives. And he is to be known to Vedas. He is the compiler of Vedanta, knower of Vedas. He is everything, right? So, karma and jnana, without bhakti, no point. We are learning, we are trying to understand Bhagavad Gita, very good. But if there is no devotion involved, you do whatever course you like, nothing is going to happen. Unless and until there is a ruchi, there is a devotion involved in everything. Gyan is important. Nobody is saying gyan. Without getting that gyan, there will be no value for anything, right? We have learned that in level 1. So now chapter 1, sections 1 to 1.27 is the introduction, how they are preparing for the war. And 28 to 46 will be what all doubts they had, Arjuna had. So that will be cleared. So doubts, here we can divide that doubts like D for Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan. We will see from verse 1 to 12. We will see how what Dhritarashtra was saying, Duryodhan, how is he trying to look at the army and all that. Oh, ominous results, what kind of results were coming, how they could make out that what kind of results were coming, right? We could see that. And then 13 to 20 is that U for uncertainty. What? Do we have to go for the war? Should we not fight? Should we fight? What is going to happen? Bewildered. Who is bewildered here? Arjuna is bewildered. Should I fight against my own family? And why should I even do that? What will I gain out of it? Bewilderment. And then there will be a turning point also from 31 to 42. We'll see that. So 1 to 27, we'll see 1 to 13, again division. Sanjaya, what does he do? He informs Dhritarashtra. He says, Dhritarashtra, King Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana is going around, he's checking his armies and he's trying to see the strength, how much strength Kuru army has, how much strength Pandavas have. Because when he went to Lord Krishna, he took all his Sena, Narayani Sena was taken away by Duryodhana, and he thought, oh, I am very strong, Pandavas will come, we will defeat, we have Dronacharya, Bhishma, and we can just kill him and victory will be ours. Done, all finished. And he was that kind of, he was having that confidence, right? Because Bhishma, Kuru army, they then blew the conch shells also, and Duryodhana was very happy. Then, say, verses 14 to 19, we are going to see. Now, Krishna is going to blow his conch shell, Arjuna is going to blow his conch shells, and as they were blowing, what is going to happen? It's going to shatter the hearts of everyone, and Duryodhana as well. From 20 to 27, we'll see how Arjuna says, can you please draw the chariot, Krishna, in the middle of this war zone? Why does he want that? He wants him to take because he wants to see who all am I going to fight? What is the strength of my, enemy? I need to see that. He wanted to actually see that. So he asks him to take. So this is how the division takes place. So this is D for Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. So verses 1 to 12 will be dealt about these two only. So let's see that. So text 1, Dhritarashtra uvacha dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva kimakurvata Sanjaya. So what did Dhritarashtra say? Anyone who likes to read the translation, keep raising your hands. You can take one by one. Yes, Shravani Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjay, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So see, three things we can see. This is again a revision from first level. We could see the place of war. Then we can see the two sides, Pandavas and Kauravas. And then we see the third character here, Sanjaya. The place is very important because it's a Dharma Kshetra. Dharma Kshetra means what? Where religious affairs happen, religious rituals are performed. Very significant because in the battle of Kurukshetra, even Krishna was present, right? Very, very important point over there. Dhritarashtra, he was Kaurava's father. He was having a lot of doubts in his mind. Will my son win? Will my sons won't win? What is going to happen? Now Sanjaya. Who is Sanjaya? He was the charioteer's son. Whose charioteer? Dhritarashtra's charioteer. Gavalgana. Gavalgana's son he was. And he was Dhritarashtra's advisor and also his charioteer. So Sanjaya, he was also disciple of sage Vedvyas. He was also disciple of him, very much devoted. He was very much devoted to his master, Dhritarashtra. And because he was a student of Vedvyasa, so what happened? Vedvyasa gave him divine vision. He was able to envision the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and he could see what was happening in the field. He was sitting in the room. Just imagine sitting in the room and able to see. Now scientists are trying to come up with these 3D glasses and all that stuff, right? That we can see as if the thing is coming right next to our eyes. But in those days, they could do that. They had those yoga power, and yoga shakti they used to have. And it's very clear. Whenever there is a rice field, paddy field, and the weeds are growing, it is going to take up the space and the rice will not be able to come out well. The paddy field will not be able to come out that well, right? So unnecessary plants, the gardener will always come, the mali will always come, the farmer will always come and remove those unnecessary plants. So it is expected from the beginning that this is a religious place. And who is the father of religion? Lord Krishna. He is there. This is a religious place. So there are unwanted plants, weeds like Dhritarashtra's sons. They were all going to be removed, wiped out. Why? So that dharma could be established, headed by Yudhishthir Maharaj. So this is the significance of Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetra. This is from historical and having Vedic importance also, right? So let's see the Dhritarashtra's question to Sanjay. What did they do? Dhritarashtra had a lot of fear. Why? Kurukshetra was a Dharma Kshetra. Krishna was present. We are just revising this. Every shloka we will revise so that we get thorough knowledge of this. If ever you feel that, we don't need this much understanding, then we can skip it. So Lord Krishna was Supreme Personality of Godhead was present. It's a place of worship. Pandavas was very much dharmic, right? They were becoming, they are very strong that way. And Bhishma, Drona, they are very saintly in nature. So, of course, if they are saintly in nature, your natural tendency is, "Kya chodo nahi, we should not fight this war, right? Battle, may not take place." Dhritarashtra is thinking that way. His fear, his concern, and what will happen if battle does not take place? Then will I be able to rule this kingdom or not? What is going to happen, right? So the analogy has been given about removing the weeds also. How the unnecessary plants will be removed. This will also be removed. BG 4.8, you can see that. Dhritarashtra, he will distinguish Pandavas from Kauravas. Mamaka Pandavas, he says, right? So this is the understanding that we get. Key points: how to understand Bhagavad Gita. This is very, very important. How to understand Bhagavad Gita is very important, right? Dhritarashtra's fears and concern, and then regarding Dharmakshetra. And Dhritarashtra, how he distinguishes Pandavas from Kauravas. These are the important key points that we need to understand. Sanjaya uvacha drishtva tu pandavanekam vyudham duryodhanastada आचार्यमुपसंगम्य राजा वचनम अब्रवीत. स्निग्धा माताजी, हरे कृष्ण. Hare Krishna.
Sanjay said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So he went, right? He went to king, and what did he say? He's very wanting to understand what is going to happen, right? Now, King Duryodhan is actually king. He's a commander right now. He's the whole and soul, but he's having this anxiety in his mind, right? He goes to the commander because the situation is so serious, right? He is actually fit to be a politician. He knows where to do some maskabaji and where not to do, where to flatter somebody and where to, kind of insult. But here he comes and he insults. Let's see how he insults. Just see. Pashyetam Panduputran. Pashyetam means what? How he is looking. He is looking at Panduputranam, Acharya Mahatim Chamum, the Mahatim, the Mahan. Look at this whole army. Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimata. Shishya means this disciple. Dhimata is very, very intelligent. Look at that Drupada Putrena, Drishtadyumna. Look at him. He is your disciple, right? Just look at him, he says. So, yeah. Who will read? Akash Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare.
Translation. O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Did very wrong, right? Everyone agrees to this. He was not doing the right thing. He was going and insulting his guru, right? Guru was Dronacharya. And when you're going on a spiritual battlefield or any good work, auspicious work, you are not going to go and insult somebody. You go take blessings, right? And Arjuna did exactly that. He took the blessings of his guru, and guru also blessed him. That is how a disciple should behave. But that's not what Duryodhan was doing. He was having full of anger, full of, fear, pride, everything was there in his. That is what is, Rajasic and Tamasic nature that he was possessing. So verse number 2, Duryodhana approaches Dronacharya, right? He is going to see how the military is done for the Pandavas, this whole formation. Will we win? Is this strategy correct or not? And Duryodhana is addressed as king, if you have noticed or not, right? When Sanjay is saying, he's addressing. Why he is addressing him as king here because he wants to, he's telling Dhritarashtra, right? He wants to make sure, Sanjay wants to make sure that King Dhritarashtra is, content right now. He's trying to encourage him. So Duryodhana is king. Still, he has to approach commander-in-chief for advice because he's scared. He's not that powerful. He is having all kinds of rajasic and tamasic thoughts. When you have such things, you will always be insecure. It just, even in our life, let's see, whenever we are having some kind of expectation from somebody else, that's when fear sets in. That's when we become very anxious. The moment we don't want anything from anybody, you see how free you will feel. You can try this, right? So Duryodhana in verse 3, you can see Duryodhana is expert as politician and diplomat. He knows how to go, how to talk to other people. And opposing general, the Drishtadyumna, is a son of Drupada. You all know the story of Drupada and Dronacharya, how Drupad insulted Dronacharya, and then Dronacharya, with the help of Pandavas and Kauravas, Pandavas, Arjun basically, he defeated Drupad Maharaj, and then Drupad Maharaj felt very much insulted, and how he did the yajna, and he got a son named Drishtadyumna because he wanted to take the revenge and he wanted his son to kill Dronacharya. So Drishtadyumna was born to kill Dronacharya. Okay. And even though he was that, he sent Drishtadyumna, where he sent? He sent to Dronacharya only to learn all the archery skills and all that, military skills, weapon skills and everything. And Dronacharya, he knew very well that this is what Drupad has done. Still, he did not refuse to teach Drishtadyumna. Kamsa, we can compare. When he came to know through Akashwani that your sister's 8th son is going to kill you, he immediately wanted to kill his sister. Just see the difference. Dronacharya, the Brahmana who was having all sattvic gunas, and you can see how he, even though he knew he's teaching the person who is going to be the cause of his death, that's what he did. Drishtadyumna was trained by Dronacharya, right? And Drishtadyumna is always the disciple of Dronacharya. So being Guru, naturally Guru will be an expert, and he learned from an expert. So he was also very good at it. So Pandavas were also trained by Dronacharya. So he felt, Duryodhan felt, Dronacharya will be very lenient with Pandavas. So I must make sure that Dronacharya does what he is supposed to do. Right? So these are the key points we have learned in verse 2 and 3. Duryodhan, he was expert politician, diplomat. Duryodhan, referring Drishtadyumna as son of Drupada, and Dhritarashtra distinguishes Pandavas from Kurus. We learned this, right? So hope this is clear. We move on to text 4. Atrishura Maheshwasaha Bhima Arjuna Samayudhi Yuyudhano Viratashcha Drupadashcha Maharataha. Yes, Pratima Mataji, Hare Krishna. Here in this army are many heroic bowmen equal to fighting to Bhima and Arjuna. Great fighters like Yuyudhana, Virata and Drupada. So when we are doing shloka by shloka, what we can do is we can, are you able to hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes,
Yes,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Because
Yes,
Pratima
Yes,
Mataji
Mataji.
could not read the translation, so I felt maybe, I'm not being audible or something.
Yeah, sorry, I was just a little bit slow on unmuting myself.
Sorry, Mataji. Sorry, I didn't wait for you. Sorry, Mataji.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Atra Shura Maheshwasa. We'll do little bit word meanings also here so that it's easy for you to go in little bit detail. This is level 2, so less of stories and more meaningful thing. So Atra means here. Shura is Shurveer, heroes. Mahesh Isa Asaha means bowman. Bhima, Arjun, Sama, Yudhi. So Bhima and Arjun, Sama means equal. Yudhi means in the war, Yudh. Yuyudhana. Yuyudhana is a person. Virata is a person. Drupada is a person. and Maharatha. They are all great fighters. So Duryodhana, Viratashta, Drupadashta, Maharatha. So many Maharathis are there. He says, so many in this army, many heroic bowmen are there who are equal to Bhim and Arjuna. They are great fighters. Yuyudhanu and a lot of great people are over here, says Duryodhan. This is all by Duryodhan. This is 1 to 12 is Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan. दृष्टकेतुश्चैकितानः काशीराजश्च वीर्यवान् पुरुजित् कुन्तिभोजश्च शैब्यश्च नरपुङ्गवः. Yes, Pratima Mataji.
There are also great, heroic, powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Chekitana, Kashiraj, Purujit, Kuntibhoj, and Saibya.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. So very nice. Thank you, Mataji. So here, I saw one explanation by Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji. He was giving about this. He was telling about Narapungavaha. I was quoting. He quoted this about Narapungavaha. Narapungava means all these warriors. They were formidable warriors. You couldn't win them. They were so strong. So Duryodhan is in continuation with the description of Pandava's forces. Here he is describing Drishtaketu. Drishtaketu means who is he? He is son of Shishupal. Anybody remembers that Shishupal story? Yeah? He was the king of Chedis.
200 since he was after
100,
Mataji.
Yeah, correct, Mataji. You are getting there. Yes. When he was born, I'm again telling your story. Okay, quickly. When he was born, he was having some extra heads. He was having some extra hands, and those hand and head, they fell away when Krishna saw him. And his mother, she knew this prophecy that if any person who will see him and at that time the head and the hands are going to fall away, that means that person is the person who is going to kill my son. So she knew Krishna is going to kill. So she immediately approached Krishna and she pleaded. She asked for the benediction. And she said, please don't kill him. He is my son. Don't kill him. Even if he offends you, Krishna, please. Said, okay, I won't kill him. Till he offends me, like say 100 times. Once he is done, his 100th is done. More than that, I'm not going to tolerate. I'm going to just kill him. So now there was a Rajasuya Yajna. Yudhishthira was performing. So when he was performing, Shishupal was there. He went on a rampage, insulting Krishna, left, right, and center. You imagine. Krishna kept on. Why he was doing it, because he was he was the recipient, he was chosen. Krishna was chosen for the Agra Puja, means he was the top. They asked who should be the topmost, like there were so many gurus. They all came to a conclusion that no, Krishna is the one who should be chosen. He should be on the top. He is chosen for the recipient as Agra Puja. And means he was deemed to be the most worshipable person in the whole, assembly, where Yudhishthira was performing the Rajasuya Yajna. So then Shishupal was there. Shishupal was very, very envious. He was jealous. He used to insult Krishna. He never liked him. And he kept on insulting him, kept on insulting Krishna. Krishna kept quiet. But as soon as it was 100, what did he do? He took out his Sudarshan Chakra and lo and behold. And mind you, he beheaded him without a drop of blood falling, because there was a Rajasuya Yajna going on. And even if a drop of blood falls, the yajna will be cancelled. You cannot have that. The sanctity is lost. So that was also there, and that's what Lord Krishna made sure that that wouldn't happen. And this Drishtaketu was son of Shishupal. Shishupal died. He was the only one who was having this demoniac kind of a nature. Others were all good in this whole dynasty, right? So then Drishtaketu is the eldest son of Shishupal. He was fighting on the sides of Pandava because they were all good. Only Shishupal was out of character person within that kind of dynasty. Otherwise, the dynasty was all virtuous dynasty overall. So even before Rajasuya Yajna also, um, he was pro Pandavas only, Shishupal. He had only that envy thing was only with Krishna, nobody else. Okay. So I think Drishtaketu, you would have understood. He did not have any resentment against Pandavas, even Shishupal didn't have, but he had only against Krishna. And once he was gone, Drishtaketu knew what his father did, and what his father did was wrong. He was towards the side of Pandavas. He fought very bravely with Pandavas, and he was ultimately killed by Dronacharya only, you know. He wasn't an easy opponent. He was also a very, very valiant soldier. So Drishtaketu Chekitanaha, he was son of Drishtaketu. Drishtaketu, Chekitana, why did they put together? You know, they were his father's son. That is why. Srila Prabhupada explains very nicely, you know, that both Krishna and Arjuna were of same age. Both were more than like 100 years of age by then. So naturally, their grandsons were all grown up, right? Once you have this white hair, natural, now I am having this gray hair, but Krishna always looked very youthful. So even though he was a grandfather, he had grandsons. Their grandsons were also grown up. Lakshmana, like Duryodhan's son. Then they were all fighting. Everybody's sons were fighting, and that is why Putran. So that is a Purujit, Kunti, Bhojishta, Shabishta, Narapungava. So every Putran, Potran, all were there. Putra also were there. Potran were also there. Potran means grandchildren. Putra means sons. So Chekitana was also one of the commanders. So he was also later, of course, he was also killed. Kashi Rajashcha. Kashi Raja, the Kashi Raja was also there. He was also very, very. In those days, you know, they would not say the name of the king. If the kingdom was very strong, they would say Kashika Raja, whoever was the ruler. They would not name who came onto the throne. They would say Kashi Raja. Whoever was ruling Kashi was Kashi Raja. That kingdom was very famous. The kingdom was very strong. That is why whoever is ruling Kashi, that Kashi Raja. He was also very strong, very valiant, and he also fought. So this is how Kashi Raja they have mentioned. Then Purujit Kunti Bhojashta. Purujit is, Kunti Bhojashta, we know that brothers of Kunti, Maharani Kunti, right? Kunti Bhojashta. So they were all Kunti's brothers. And we all know how Kunti was. Who was Kunti? Anybody knows?
Mother of Pandavas.
Mother of Pandavas, yes. Kunti Bhoja, he was the ruler of the kingdom. And yeah, so Purujit, Kunti Bhojashta, the father of Kunti, everybody, they were all there. Shabyashcha Narapungavaha. Narapungavaha is a very strong word here he has used here. They're all leaders, right? They're all Nara means man. Pungavaha means very, very eminent people over here. Kunti Bhoja was there. Everybody, they were all very great heroes. Purujit, Kunti Bhoja were brothers of Kunti, mother of Pandavas. They were maternal uncles of Pandavas. So in Mahabharata war, they were of course later on killed by Dronacharya, right? So they were all called Narapungava, the best of men, heroic men. That is why I took little time to explain this, because most of the time we don't get to read about such in detail. Duryodhan, in this way, he's speaking about all formidable warriors on the side of Pandavas. He's telling about them. Because why he was telling? He's trying to alert Dronacharya. He's trying to alert all the forces that you have to fight well. You have to fight consciously, knowing the strength of the opponent. So this is what great warrior, Dronacharya was great. That way he was very good. Not only a politician, but trying to analyze. He was very good at analysis also. He was trying to analyze. See, we should not undermine. We know we can win. We have Bhishma and we have Dronacharya. But see, these are the people. They are all Narapungavaha, he is telling. So let's move on to the next one. युधामन्युश्च विक्रान्तः उत्तमौजाश्च वीर्यवान् सौभद्रो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्व एव महारथाः. Yes, please, Snigdha Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Hare.
There are the mighty Yudhudmanu, the very powerful Uttamauja, the son of Subhadra, and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters.
Hare Krishna. Yudhamanyu, Vikranta, Uttamauja, Viryavan, Saubhadra, the sons of Subhadra. Then son of Subhadra is, who is the son of Subhadra?
Abhimanyu.
Abhimanyu. Draupadeya is sons of Draupadi. And then Sarvaeva, all certainly are Maharathas, great fighters, great chariot fighters. Yeah. So Yudhamanyu, Uttamauja, they're all valiant. They're all, princes of Panchal kingdom. They were all prince. Saubhadra, we all know Abhimanyu. He was very, very valiant. We know about him. Draupadi means the five sons of all the five Pandavas from Draupadi. So they were also there. Duryodhan, he has referred their names. Sarvaeva, everyone. He is trying to tell they're all Maharathis. Dronacharya, he is telling his guru, they're all Maharathis. So Maharathi means what? One who can fight against, you can say, 10,000 bowmen single-handedly. They don't need anybody's help. Single-handedly, they can tackle 10,000 bowmen. So the ones who are having bows, arrows, and everything. So they are able to tackle them. They are Maharathis. So they were there over there. So that is why he is trying to describe everything. So let's see from 4 to 6. Duryodhan described the warrior of opposing armies. All of them are fighting for rights, not for material gains. They are all very strong. Bhima, Arjuna, Yuryodhana, Virata, Drupada, Drishtaketu, Chekita, Nakashi Raja, Purujit, Kuntibhoja, Sabya, Yudhamanyu, Uttamauja, sons of Subhadra and sons of Draupadi. All Maharathis. Okay, so let's move on. अस्माकं तु विशिष्टाये तानि बोधत्विजोत्तमा नायका मम सैन्यस्य संज्ञार्थं तान् ब्रवीमि ते. Yes, please, Neha Mataji.
But for your information, O best of the Brahmins, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, best of Brahmanas. So let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force. He's very proud. He's having, and he starts with, telling about his side. Dronacharya, he was teacher, right? He was the guru, the teacher of military science. He was not actually a warrior. He was a Brahmana, but he was on the war field. He was on the battlefield. He was one of the commanders of Kaurava army. And this rude Duryodhana, he was even doubting the loyalty of his own guru and grandfather. But he was very, in a way, very cunning also. He was trying to purposefully, this is all how Rajasic and Tamasic his mind works. He purposefully addressed his teacher as Dvijottama. Dvijottama means what? Who is Dvijottama? Best of Brahmanas. Because why they're called? Because once you are born, and second time when you have that sacred thread ceremony by the guru also, you have the second life. So you call Dvijottama, means second life, 2 times. You are getting life 2 times. So Dvijottama, Uttama means best of Brahmanas. So he's saying purposefully, just trying to say that. Why? Because he's trying to, he's kind of belittling Dronacharya in a way that, if he did not display his courage, his valor in the battle, you will be considered a lowly Brahmin. You're actually a Brahmin. You were just interested in fine food and lavish lifestyle and want to live in king's palace, give some jnana, and that's it. If you will not prove yourself here. That is why I made it very sure. Dvijottama, that's a very important word here. And to cover up, because he has already insulted him, so he has to cover up that. And because he's in a war, he's battlefield. What if Guru feels offended and goes away? No, so he has to cover it up. What does he do? He uses his words to boost up his teachers and his own morale also. He starts naming great generals on the who were present on Kaurava's side. Starts to describe their valor and military expertise. He's telling, I'm going to tell you about others also, Dvijottama, and then he covers it by taking the names of other people. Who are those? Bhavan Bhishmashta Karnashta Kripashta Samatinjayaha Ashwathama Vikarnashta Somadastis Tathaivacha. So let's see who will read. Neha Mataji, Hare Krishna.
There are personalities like you, Bhima, Karna, Karpa, Ashwadhama, Vikrana, and son of Somadat, called Bhurisrava, who are always victorious in battle. Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. So he is telling over here, like he is mentioning all these exceptional heroes in the battle. They are all very, very victorious. Vikarna, you know who was Vikarna? Vikarna was the brother of Duryodhana. Ashwathama, we all know he was the son of Dronacharya. And he was the one who killed all the 5 sons of Pandavas. And Somadatta, Bhurishrava, they were the king of Bahalikas. In those days, what would happen? They were allies. For example, if India is fighting against, say, Pakistan, let's say, and Sri Lanka says, no, I support you. Or suppose Ukraine and Russia were fighting, and Ukraine was supported by UK and other countries like America, like that. They used to have allies. Different kingdoms would come and say, okay, I'll be but of course, for selfish reasons. If we win, I will get this portion, or I will get this, or I will get that, whatever it is, whatever selfish reasons they may be having. But they used to come together. So like that, Somadatta Bhurishrava, the son of king of Bahalikas. Karna, we all know, he was Kunti's son only, half brother of Pandavas. He was born to Kunti before her marriage with King Pandu. Then Kripacharya's twin sister, she was married to Dronacharya. So Kripacharya was also there. He was also there to fight. And Bahalika means what? They were, Bahalika kingdom used to be there. And this Bahalika kingdom, he was the elder brother of Shantanu, who was the king of Hastinapur, right? Who was the uncle of Bhishma. And Bahalika was uncle of Bhishma because he was Shantanu's brother. So he was the oldest warrior in Kurukshetra war, we can say that. Because he was Shantanu's brother, he was still alive and he was fighting from Kaurava's side. So you can imagine, we were thinking Bhishma is very old. So Bhishma's uncle was also there, Bhurishrava, right? So let's see, maybe their sons and sons and sons, all of them were over there. I hope you got this point. So let's see 7 to 9. Dronacharya, Ashwathama, Kritavarma, Bhishma, Vikarna, Salya, Karna, Somadatta, others, Kripacharya, Jayadratha, all of them were there trying to fight. But we have to remember, when Pandavas were fighting, they were fighting for dharma. Here, they are fighting for material cause. That is why their army will be, their fighting spirit will be weak. And in that also, most of them were favoring Pandavas. Who can tell me who was favoring Pandavas?
Bhishma, Dronacharya.
Yeah, Bhishma and Dronacharya, they were in a dilemma, right? They said, what to do? We have to, fight with Kauravas, with Pandavas, and what to do, how to do, what to do. They didn't understand, right? So here he said, Bhavam Bhishmashcha Karnashcha. Bhavan means he is addressing Dronacharya as first and not Bhishma first. Why? Because Dronacharya was a Brahmana. So it will be okay with Bhishma. Bhishma won't feel offended, even though Bhishma was the commander-in-chief. So commander-in-chief's name should come first. Bhavan Bhishmashcha. No, it should be Bhishmashcha, then Bhavan. No. Bhavan means you. He was talking to Dronacharya. So you. Bhavan means you. You, Bhishma, and like that. Bhavan Bhishmashcha. So he goes like this. So even though he said Bhavan Bhishmashta, Bhishma would not feel offended because Dronacharya was a Brahmana. And he also says they are ready to lay lives for me. In a way, you are already deciding that everybody is going to die. So who is going to live from your side? Are you going to be victorious? That kind of thoughts come to the mind, right? So let's see the 10th one. Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishma bhirakshitam paryaptam tvadame tesham balam bhima bhirakshitam. Yes, Geeta Mata.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Our strength is immeasurable and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, anybody wants to repeat the shloka, you can repeat. Aparyaptam tadasmakam. Anyone wants to repeat the shloka?
Can I try, Mataji?
Yeah, please.
Aparyatam tadasmakam balam bhishma bhirakshitam paryaptam
Vidame tesham.
tadbamide tesham bhalam bhima bhirakshitam.
Hari bol, very nice. Because somebody put it in chat that they would like to repeat the shlokas a couple of times. So what we will do, we will take out like few shlokas at the end and we will try to repeat that many times, right?
It's more the
Thank you,
pronunciation which are a problem, right, Mataji? So that's why we were hoping that you would help us in
Yeah, sure,
correcting
sure,
this.
Mataji. Why not? Why not? Hare bol.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna. Yeah. Okay. So Shravani Mataji, would you like to read this?
Yes, Mataji. From our strength?
Yes, please.
Okay. Our strength is immeasurable and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhim, is limited. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Aparyaptam, immeasurable, right? That one. Tadasmakam, asmakam means ours. Balam means strength. Bhishma, Bhirakshitam. So we have Bhishma, grandfather. You know, he is great. He will take care of us. He is able to take care of us very well. He will protect us very well. So, Paryaptam Tvedame Tesham. To idam itesham means what? This, but you know, all this Pandavas, Balam, their Balam is who? Bhima. Abhirakshitam, carefully protected. So here we have Bhishma in their Bhima. Bhima is nothing. He's like a peanut in front of Bhishma. That's what he's trying to say. So commander-in-chief of Kaurava army is who? The grandfather, Bhishma. Apart from being not only an exceptional warrior, he had got an extraordinary boon. What that extraordinary boon was? He could choose the time of his death. He was practically invincible. Nobody could kill him. That was sure. So that was the strength Duryodhan was having in his mind. Okay, nobody can kill my grandfather. And not only was he a great warrior. So he said, okay, Bhishma is going to be the commander-in-chief. My army is going to be undefeatable. Pandava's army was secured by Bhima. That side, Bhima was supposed to be very strong. So he started comparing his grandfather Bhishma's strength with his cousin's Bhima's strength. And there is a saying, right? In Hindi, we say, Vinashakale Viprita Buddhi. This proverb goes, which means that as the end is drawing near, egoistic people, you know, they start indulging in this kind of vain glory. They want to just glorify everything instead of trying to be as humble as possible, try to evaluate the situation. No. Here, the tragic irony of fate is, it's reflected here in Duryodhan's, the kind of the bragging statement that he's giving. He said, my army's strength is secured by Bhishma. It is unlimited. Kauravas and Pandavas were Bhishma's grandkids only, right? So Bhishma was the oldest living member there in Kuru family. And of course, he was concerned about their welfare. He was very, very compassionate towards Pandavas. And but he was bound to this throne of Hastinapur. So he had to be there. Half-heartedly he was there, and he was also aware that this is a holy war, along with the great warriors. Lord Krishna was present over there, and he was there with Pandavas. So naturally, Dharma will be on their side, and there is no power, no power, no power in this entire universe that could, make the side of Adharma win. Adharma can never win, no matter what you do. That was the thing. So because he had vowed to protect the kingdom of Hastinapur and whoever was on the throne, he was just trying to fulfill his responsibility. Many people ask, if Bhishma was a great devotee of Krishna, why did he accept? This was the reason he is giving, that he has the responsibility towards the throne. He could not leave that because he has taken a vow when his father was there. So he had to leave the Kaurava army, even though he was aware of the wrongdoings. That's a very important point. So this decision of Bhishma, it actually highlights his strength of character and his the kind of personality, enigmatic personality that he was having. So Paryapta means immeasurable, insufficient, protected by Bhishma. Pandavas are protected by Bhim, and he is very much insignificant as to Bhishma naturally. Duryodhan is very much envious of Bhima because only he is capable of defeating him. Ayaneshu cha sarveshu yata bhagam avastitaha bhishmamevabhirakshantu bhavantas sarva eva hi. Yes, please, Neha Mataji.
All of you must now give support to Grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army.
Phalanx of the army. See, just imagine. Yes, Mataji, correct. So we have to do nice, we have to stand in that strategic points everywhere, everything differently has to be arranged, and Bhishma has to be protected, he has to be given protection. He is trying to urge all the Kaurava generals. He says, make sure that my grandfather Bhishma is protected from all sides, give him full support. And, while you are defending your own positions, make sure that the whole military phalanx, this is trying to show his military capabilities, what military capabilities he is trying to show. So Duryodhana is holding Bhishma's, he's relying on Bhishma's, right? He's relying on Bhishma, his grandfather. He knows that he is an added advantage to his army, and he wants to inspire his army. He's wanting to make sure that everybody is very encouraged and motivated. That is why he's trying to praise Bhishma. He says he was confident that he's going to get full support of Bhishma and Dronacharya. Why? What are the reasons? What do you think? What are the reasons that he's thinking, he's confident that he'll get full support of Bhishma and Dronacharya? Why? Because when in the Hastinapur court also, they did not protect Draupadi. When she was being insulted, disrobed, nothing happened. They were just sitting over there. Even though they were having affection for Pandavas and they might become lenient, he hoped, Duryodhana is hoping that they will give up all that affection now. And he is also asking everyone to support Bhishma. Why? Because naturally he's a very valiant, courageous army general, but he is an old man. Enemy might take advantage of his full engagement, from one side, everybody can attack him, something can happen. So make sure that Bhishma is protected. He wanted everyone to feel very much important. That's why he is taking everybody's name. So let's move on. Tasya sanjanayan harsham kuru vrithav pitamaha sinhanadam vinadyochaihi shankham dadmav pratapavan. Yes, please. Shravani Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhan joy. Hare Krishna.
So that's how it happened. Bhishma was aware Duryodhana had no chance of victory because Lord Krishna was on the side. He understood that, he was very anxious. So he blew up the conch shell very, very loudly. In olden days, blowing the conch shell means start of the war. It signals the start of the war. So this also conveyed to Duryodhana that Bhishma was ready to lead the Kaurava army, and he would be fighting very dutiful. So in this verse, it is all about Bhishma blowing the conch shell, just to make Duryodhana joyful. So verse 11 and 12, we see that Duryodhana is requesting his army to support Bhishma because he's a diplomat. He thinks others in the army will feel bad. So he's requesting them to support, protect Bhishma. Bhishma is old, needs his support. And he's confident that they will all support him because they supported him when Draupadi was being disrobed. And Bhishma may do it out of compassion. He blows because he wants Duryodhana to feel joyful. He's just fighting out of duty. And then we see all kinds of conch shells and sounds. So 13 to 20, I have to go a little quickly because I think I'm running out of time. Ominous results we'll see. Tata shankashcha bheryashcha panavanaka gomukha sahasevabhya hanyanta sashabdastu malobhavat. Yes, Swapnil Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
After that, the conscious drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous.
Yes, Hare Krishna. On hearing Bhishma's call for a battle, everyone in Kaurava side started blowing their various instruments. Shankha means conch shells, then Panava. Shankhascha, Bheryascha, Panava. Panava means drums, the drums that they hit. Panavaka, Gomukha. Anaka. Anaka means kettle drums, another kind of kettle drums they were having. And Bheryashta, bugles. And Gomukha, blowing the horns, the like this, there is a horn, like go horn, the horn of the gods, they were holding that and they were blowing it very loudly. So all these instruments together, it created loud noise. Tata Shwetair Yukte Mahatisyandane Sitau Madhavas Pandavas Chaiva Divyav Shankho Pradhatmatu. Yes, Aniha Mataji, Hare Krishna.
On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjun, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, and sounded their transcendental conch shells.
So again, start of the, thank you Mataji, Hare Krishna. Starting of the war, right? You blow conch shells. That side Kauravas have blown. That's done. Chapter closed. This side Pandavas have to start. Now, Pandava side, who was sitting on the chariot? Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna and Arjuna. So both blew their conch shells together. So it ignited the enthusiasm in the Pandavas army also. So how Sanjay is kind of addressing Lord Krishna? Here Lord Krishna is addressed as Madhava. So Madhava. So combination of two words. Ma. Ma is who? Ma. Mother Goddess Lakshmi. Ma. Dhava. Adhava means, Dhava means what? Husband. So the Ma's husband is Krishna. So Goddess Lakshmi is Lord Vishnu's wife, who is one of the many forms of Lord Krishna. So in this verse, it implies that Goddess Lakshmi, Goddess of prosperity, if she is there with Pandavas, and by her grace, they would definitely win the war, and then they will be able to get Hastinapur very soon. So the sons of all King Pandu, they were all called Pandavas, and it could be used for any of the five brothers, right? But in this verse, the Pandava, here when they were Madhava, Pandavas Chaiva, here in this verse, Pandava means it is referred to Arjun because they were together on the chariot. So he was a third among the five Pandavas, right? He was a very mighty warrior, very superior, very valiant, very courageous. And his magnificent chariot on which they both were sitting was gifted by Agni Dev, and it's a celestial god of fire. Yeah. Panchajanyam Rishikesha Devadattam Dhananjayaha Poundram Dadmo Mahashankam Bhimakarma Vrukodaraha. Yes, Akash Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Poundra. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Voracious eater. So Lord Krishna has been mentioned as Rishikesha, means Lord of mind and senses, right? So he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the master of everybody's mind. If we can just devote our time, our heart, mind, everything to Krishna, he will make sure that, we are completely devoted to him. So throughout his wonderful pastimes, he has displayed complete control over his master and senses, right? We can see that, how he has displayed his control over his mind and senses. And Bhima has been told as a voracious eater, and who, of course, he could lift heavy things also. So that is why he is performer of Herculean task. Then he blew his conch shell called Poundra. Panchajanya was Krishna's, Arjuna blew Devadatta, and Bhima blew Poundra. So we come to know that the conch shells of other people also. Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthiraha Nakulah Sahadevascha Subhoshamani Pushpakau Kashyashta Parameshwasaha Shikhandi Cha Maharataha Dishtidyumno Viratascha Satikishta Parajitaha Drupado Drapadeyashta Sarvashaf Prithivipate Saubhadrashta Mahabahu Shankham Dadmuf Prathak Prathak. Yes, please. Neha Mataji, Hare Krishna.
King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Anant Vijaya, and Nakula and Sahadev blew the Sughosh and Mani Pushpaka. The great Arker, the king of Kashi, the great fighter Shikhandi, Drishtadyumna Virata, and unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, the sons of Draupadi, and others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells. Thank you,
This is
Mataji.
all the Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you. This is all description of different conch shells by different people. Like here, soldier, the commander in chiefs here, Yudhishthira. He was the eldest Pandava. He has been referred to as a king, Raja. Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthira. So he has been addressed here as king. He was always a very graceful, very noble person, whether he was living in the palace or in the forest. Whenever he did the Rajasi Yajna also, he had earned lot of tributes from other kings in the world. He was so great. Sanjay informed Dhritarashtra, very tactfully he was informing him, that his unwise policy, he had this unwise policy of deceiving the sons of Pandu, right? Always deceiving them and trying to give the throne to his own sons. That was not laudable. So in a way, by addressing him as king, in a very subtle way, Sanjay is trying to inform. So these signs, we already clearly indicates that the whole Kuru dynasty will be destroyed after this battle. So this whole catastrophe was due to King Dhritarashtra, because he discouraged. He never discouraged his sons to do all the vices. He kept on encouraging them. So here it has been mentioned about all the different conch shells. So in next class, I'm going to ask you the names of all the conch shells. Let's see that. Verse 14, Krishna and Arjuna, they were blowing their transcendental conch shells. Victory was certain. And then we can see in 15 to 18, Krishna, Arjuna, Bhima blowing their transcendental conch shell. Krishna was blowing Panchajanya, Arjuna, Devadatta, Bhima, Poundra, Yudhishthira, Ananta Vijaya, Nakula, Subhosha, Sahadev, Mani Pushpaka. Okay. So Krishna, he is situated in the heart. He can direct the senses based on living entities' desire. We can understand what we are thinking. So never ever think that Krishna doesn't know. He knows what you are thinking. You don't have to, spell it out also. He knows what you desire, but he does whatever is good for you. That we don't understand, because we are part and parcel of Krishna. So he knows everything about us. So here are different names of Krishna, Arjuna, and Bhima. Anybody would like to read? Shravani Mataji, would you like to read, please?
Yes, Mataji. Krishna, meaning all attractive. Rishikesa, master of senses, owner of senses. Madhava, husband of the goddess of fortune. Akyuta, infallible one. Madhusudana, killer of demon named Madhu. Govinda, one who gives pleasure to the senses or cows. Vasudeva, son of Vasudev. Devaki Nandana, son of Devaki. Yashoda Nandana, son of Yashoda. Parthasarthi, charioteer of Parth, Arjuna. Kesava, killer of demon Kesi. Janardana, maintainer of all living entities or killer of all living entities. Dhananjay, Arjuna, conqueror of wealth. Parth, son of Pritha, Kunti Devi. Gudakesa, one who conquers sleep. Vrikodara, Bhim, voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks. Hare Krishna.
This was very easy and self-explainable. So we'll move on to the next one. Saghoshodhartarashtranam hridayani vyadarayat nabhascha prithivim chaiva tumulo venunadayan. Yes, please, Neha Mata. Hare Krishna. Shravani Mataji, you can read.
Hare Krishna. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Sanjay, he conveyed Dhritarashtra, these sounds of the conch shells of the Pandavas, they were very shattering to the hearts of his son. He did not mention any reaction. Just see, this is what we are trying to learn, He did not mention any reaction from the Pandavas when Kauravas were blowing the conch shell. They were creating such loud noise, but he never mentioned that. Kauravas were fearful, right? They were fearful because they were having that guilty conscience was always there. Their conscience was pricking them. Whenever we do something wrong, what we learn from here is when we do something wrong, our conscience pricks. Definitely it pricks. We may not acknowledge, but it pricks. If we do something wrong, it pricks. So it pricked because they committed the crimes and they did a lot of misdeeds. So they were relying solely on the physical strength to fight the war. Whereas Pandavas, they were confident, they were protected because the Supreme Lord Krishna was on their side. So they were all on Dharma side. So their victory was definite. अथव्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा धार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः प्रवृत्ते शस्त्रसम्पाते धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवः ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदमाह महीपते. Yes, Swapnil Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot, bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot this arrow, losing after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array. Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words.
Hare Krishna. So what
Hare
happened
Krishna.
over here? Here Sanjay is addressing Arjuna, another name. Here he says Kapidhwaja. Here means some banner is there of a monkey god Hanuman on the chariot. So battle was just about to start. So it is understood from this statement that all the sons of Dhritarashtra, by unexpected arrangement of military force by Pandavas, they were all guided. Direct instructions from Lord Krishna. Ye wala karna hai, aise jao, you go back, you come in front, you stay here, you go right. Everything was being arranged by Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna had taken a vow not to pick up the weapon, but no, there was no instruction that I will not guide them. So the emblem of Hanuman on the flag of Arjuna was another sign, the emblem. So it was a sign of victory. Why? Because Hanuman cooperated with Lord Ram in the battle of between when Rama fought battle with Ram and Rama and Ravana fought battle with each other. And Hanuman was the main instrument there, right? He was the one. And Lord Rama emerged victorious because with the help of Lord Hanumanji. So Lord, both Rama and Hanuman were present there. You can say that, right? Lord Krishna is Rama himself. And wherever Lord Ram is, his eternal servitor Hanuman will always be there. His eternal consort Sita Mataji will always be there. Goddess of fortune will always be there. So Arjuna had no cause to worry, no cause to fear whatsoever. And above all, Rishikesha, Lord Krishna, master of senses, he was personally present as a charioteer. So nice advice, good counsel can be given. So that is why they say, be in a good company. So the thing that we learn from here is you should always be in good company. If you are having a company of good people, you will get good counseling, good advice. So one rotten apple in a basket can spoil everything, right? Like that. You have to be in good company all the time. So in the matter of executing the battle, all the advices, everything was given by Lord Krishna to him. So in such auspicious conditions arranged by the Lord, definitely assured victory was there. So this is 19 and 20. We understood about the blowing of the conch shells, and it shattered the hearts of sons of Dhritarashtra. and Arjuna prepared to fight. And then verse 20, what does he say? He asks Lord Krishna to draw the chariot between the two armies. And then we see the flag of the chariot has the emblem of Hanuman, which is a sure victory sign. Krishna is present, so victory is assured. So signs of victory for Pandavas. So first one is Krishna's personal presence confirms victory. Goddess of fortune was there because wherever Krishna is there, Lakshmi will be there. Venue, Kurukshetra, holy place, Hanumanji is there. The conch shell, it's a symbol of Vishnu. Then transcendental conch shells were there because they were all Divya conch shells that they were blowing. Then Bhishma's conch shell, he was there to pacify only Duryodhan's, right? Agnidev's chariot was given to Arjuna. That was also great. And then shattering of the hearts were also there, right? So all these hearts were shattered. So let's see uncertainty. I have to rush because I think I'm over time here. Maybe from next time onwards, I'll try to make it very short. So the uncertainty is Arjuna uvacha senayor ubayor madhye ratham sthapaya mechuta yavadeta niriksheham yodukaman avasthitan kermaya sahayodhavyam asmin rana samudyame. Neha Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Arjun said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms.
Yeah. So here he is addressing Krishna as Achyuta, means the most dependable one. He is requesting him, please make it in the middle of the battlefield. I want to see, right? Like, why is he doing that? Normally it is said, right? Aham bhakta paradhino, ayasva tantra iva dvija. Means what? It is said in Bhagavatam. Lord Krishna says, I am actually supremely independent. I don't listen to anyone, yet I become enslaved by my devotees. This is a very important point. Aham bhakta paradhino. That is why. Why are we chanting? Why are we reading Bhagavad Gita? Why are we trying to understand? What is the motive? Aham bhakta paradhino. We need to have devotion. The moment we become devotee of Lord Krishna says, Aham bhakta paradhino. I become, enslaved by my devotees. They are very dear to me. I become indebted to them for their love. Once he comes under that is why he accepted to be a charioteer. He is ready to break his vow. He is ready to break his promises, but he will never, ever try to break his devotees' vow. Such is the beauty, such is his merciful, such is the beauty of God's bond with his devotees. He gets enslaved. He gets beholden by devotees' love. Then Arjuna could instruct Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, take my chariot in the middle of the field. Let me not read the Sanskrit version. Let Swapnil Prabhuji please read the translation.
Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Arjuna wanted to see all those who had taken the side of the injustice. Krishna, please take in the middle of the whole field. I just want to see who are these who are trying to, take the side of Duryodhan and Adharma side. He was fearless, right? So Lord Krishna was with him. So first, Pandavas were entitled for half the kingdom, but they did not give. Dhritarashtra's sons. So they had to fight. They were ready for battle. But Arjuna said, I will fight and I will take it back. Please, Krishna, just take in the middle of the ground. So he wanted to take a closer look at Kaurava army. He wanted to say, who are all these people? I will punish them equally, because they have chosen to be on the wrong side. Nobody will be spared. So 21 to 23, he calls them Achyuta, infallible one. Lord Krishna, out of love and causeless mercy, accepted the position of a charioteer. Lord Krishna takes pleasure in serving his unalloyed pure devotees, right? Arjuna is a pure devotee. He has actually no desire to fight. He wants, but he wants, there was a war. He had to fight. He wanted to see the supporters who wanted to please the evil-minded Duryodhan, estimate their strength, not for peace proposal. So the analogy here is birds of same flock fly together, right? Kauravas and the other allies who were fighting with Kauravas were like birds of the same flock, flock together. Achyuta, we all know it is infallible because Lord never fails in affection for his devotees. He is engaged in the service of his friend out of causeless mercy. Very merciful Lord. Even if you do good, even if you don't do good, he will still be merciful. He did not even hesitate to carry out the order of Arjuna as his charioteer. Still, his supreme position was unchallenged. So, somebody was saying also, Bhishma was such a great devotee of Lord Krishna. Then why was he doing this? He says, sometimes Krishna does to show what should be done and what should not be done. He chose Arjuna to show what should be done actually, how you should behave. And he chose Bhishma that what should not be done. Bhishma was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, but because he took the side of Adharma, he was. So there is nobody in this world who cannot be killed if they are on the Adharma side. That's what Krishna has proven. That's what he tried to show. Yes, please. Please read the translation. Neha Mataji, anyone, please. Hare Krishna.
Sanjay said, O descent of Bharat, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, the Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties.
So he after saying that, Eva Mukto Rishikesha Gudakeshena Bharata. Rishikesha, we know, master of senses. Gudakesha is Arjuna has been addressed over here because he had already conquered the sleep as well as ignorance also. Because he had conquered both, he has been mentioned here as Gudakesha. Because he was a great devotee of Lord Krishna. He could not even forget Krishna even for a single moment. That is what devotee is. When will we become devotee? When even for a moment we don't forget Krishna. That's when we become, while we are waking, in waking state, sleeping state, whatever state, we should never be free, from thinking about Krishna's name, form, qualities, his pastime. Then that devotee of Krishna can conquer both sleep and ignorance. Simply by thinking of Krishna constantly. That's called Krishna consciousness. That's called samadhi. So as Rishikesha, master of senses and mind, the director, he is the director of the whole field of the living entity also. Krishna could understand Arjuna, when Arjuna's purpose in placing that chariot in the midst of the whole army, right? Why did he do so? So that's okay. He said, okay, fine, I will do that. Then what happened? Swapnil Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, Just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. Hare Krishna, Mata.
Hare Krishna. When he told, behold the Kurus, did Arjuna want to stop there and not fight? Krishna never expected such things from Arjuna. So the mind of Arjuna was thus predicted by Krishna in a very friendly, in a very joking way, because when Lord Krishna called him Parth we know, right? Son of Pritha. His mother's Kunti's name was Pritha, and another name for Kunti was Pritha. So Pritha's son Partha. So he pointed out the warriors, like there are Bhishma is there, Dronacharya is there, and deliberately used Krishna. Krishna could have said, right, Bhishma, Drona are the Kuru. He addressed them as Kuru. It was just to remind Arjuna. What kind of remind? That both Kauravas and Pandavas were all descendants of great King Kuru. So he says, behold the army, just see. Because therefore enemy, he was very eager. He was very eager to kill these people. I will take revenge, he said, right? So omniscient Lord, what is he doing? He is sowing the seed of delusion in Arjuna's mind. Bhishma is there, all these people are there, how will I kill? That kind of delusion is creating. Lord is only creating. Of course, only to eliminate it later on. He will do that, right? That is why he said, behold the Kurus, you're all from the same dynasty. Will you kill them? That kind of delusion is creating. See how the drama is being unfolded. Yes, please. Shravani Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. There Arjun could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his fathers-in-law and well-wishers. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Because of this delusion that Lord Krishna created, he could see all his relatives. My grandfather, my contemporaries, my teachers, my maternal uncles, all these people are there. My well-wishers, my friends also are all there. My cousins are there. Oh my God, so many people are there. How am I supposed to kill them? That kind of delusion. Lord Krishna only created by saying, all the Kurus are there. Hare Krishna. Yes, Akash Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
When the son of Kunti, Arjuna saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus.
Yeah. So naturally, Lord Krishna's words, he chose great words, Kuru dynasty. These words had that kind of effect on Arjuna. Whatever Lord Krishna desired, that only happened. So looking at both the armies in the battlefield, his heart sank. They were all Kurus. We are all from the same descent. We are all having the same ancestors. We are all having their Kurus, their relatives. So the brave warrior who wanted to punish the Kauravas for their wickedness a few minutes ago became fearful now. Why? He's comprehending what kind of devastation this war is going to happen. What will it cause? What is the end result? What is this whole, is my valor, everything is going to diminish. So here what Sanjay calls him, Tam Samikshasa Kaunteya. Kaunteya means son of Kunti only. So he's trying to show he has become very soft-hearted. Kaunteya, as soon as he used the word Kaunteya, he's become very soft-hearted because mother's heart is always soft, right? Similar to his mother. So Arjuna is very much emotional now. He's confused. He's having many questions in his mind. So Lord Krishna draws chariot in the midst of the two armies. So Godakesha, we know, who has conquered sleep and ignorance. And Arjuna is always thinking about Krishna. So when we can do that, we go into the Samadhi state. Lord Krishna has been known as, we know him as Rishikesha also, is a master of senses. Then Partha, son of Pritha, Lord Krishna jokingly said, just behold, pay attention, look at that army. He didn't expect him to not to fight, being the son of Pritha. But this is all delusion, okay? So Arjuna could see all his relatives, everyone, and seeing all of them, he became very much overwhelmed, and he was completely having a lot of daya, mercy in general, kripa, compassion, okay? Saw his well-wishers, grandfathers, teachers, everyone over there. So now, so there was many things that is going to happen, and we have to take time to reflect. We all have our battles. We are battling with our body, we are battling with our mind, we are battling with in our relationships with others, we are battling with the world in general. So many things are going on in our life, so many responsibilities we have, so many things, so many people we are having. Many people say no time, but just like how Arjuna was willing to take out time at that is a climax moment, right? It's the middle of the war. He took out time to reflect. We also, this is the takeaway from these many shlokas, that we have to take out time from our busy lives just to reflect, because it's a story of hurry, worry, and sorry, right? We have heard this before also. Hurry, in our youth time, we are rushing, we are in a hurry, trying to do things, trying to experience everything, because we have no time for deeper stuff that time. We are worrying in the middle age. Our responsibilities are there, kids are there, obligations are there. With so much of burden, we don't have time for God. And we feel sorry in our old age, because when we look back, we start lamenting, oh God, we missed so many good opportunities. And we feel very unfortunate, right? Because our body and mind, we are left with old body now. This is how life is, but life can be changed with Krishna consciousness. We can hurry up. Instead of hurrying up, we can slow down. Try to realize what is real. Try to prioritize the life. What is that is bringing you real happiness, rather than following all the stereotypes, of whatever friends are doing, whatever relatives are doing, whatever media is having. Don't follow stereotypes. Try to slow down. Instead of worrying, let's realize that Krishna is our best friend, right? So Hrudam Sarva Bhutana. He will look after our things, even when sometimes things are going wrong. Let's be confident that he has got a master plan. How he has put Arjuna in delusion and then eliminated it later. He has a master plan for us too. And instead of feeling sorry, let's be confident that we have the ultimate wealth, the Krishna consciousness wealth, right? We have achieved the highest thing, and everything else in front of it is insignificant. So now here also Arjuna begins to feel unsure, and he is actually bewildered. He is not very sure of what he is doing. He is looking around at relatives and all. So Arjuna's mind is also reeling. What will be the cost of all this devastating war? What is going to be the end result? His mind is filled with complete grief. And he's sitting down, he puts his bow aside and he says, I can't fight. So what will Krishna say to Lord Arjuna say to Krishna? I can't fight, and we will see this tomorrow at 6 p.m. India time. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Thank you all devotees, and extremely sorry, I apologize for taking the extra time of almost half an hour, I guess. Tomorrow I'll try to make it short. Maybe I'll not do shlokas so much. I know Mataji has said that you need to recite the shlokas here, but how? What to do?